I'm joined by Aliz Kovacs-Zoldi, graduate from Cambridge School of Arts and winner of Amateur Photographer's first Student Photographer Award for her final project, The Journey Within. So Aliz, can you tell me more about your project? So for example, the concept, inspiration and techniques you used?
So about my project, it was made for my photography degree project in my third year at Cambridge School of Art. And it talks about my experience during the lockdowns. And as for the inspiration, I think the very base for the project came from living in a very, very tiny room. So living in a tiny room in isolation wasn't very much fun. I think I developed quite an amount of anxiety during. And one of these days, laying down on my bed, looking up to the ceiling, I noticed a tiny plant that I purchased weeks ago, and I completely forget about it. Okay, so no water, no care, nothing, and it was starting to push out a leaf, and I was like, man, I didn't water it. I forgot about it, but it's still growing, and it sort of gave me comfort. And I started to say that, if this little plant was growing without care, without love, without anything, then even though I felt very, very stuck at that point in my life, I must be growing too. That life goes on even if you don't notice that things are happening. So the base of the idea for the whole project and using the plants as kind of representing feelings and thoughts came from there, that you don't notice that you're growing, but you're part of nature, you're part of this whole universe, and you are growing even when you're not noticing it, and you're going through this journey in life. And and that's the base of the idea for the project, basically. um After that, I started thinking about, okay, how can I actually make this my major project for my degree? And it was really difficult to start working on it because it's something very personal, and I kind of relived the whole experience whilst I was producing the project. So what helped me the most is finding the theory from Joseph Campbell, and that was the theory of the hero's journey. So it talks about the archetypal hero in mythology and in stories from all over the world, and how this hero goes through the same stages, regardless of being a story from ancient Greece or a tale from the Grimm's brothers, or those stories that have been passed down from generation to generation, and they were, well, educating people, warning people, and so on and so on. But the common ground is that you see the hero in its own environment, and it goes on a journey. It has to face some trials, have some help on the way, and so on and so on. And when I read this theory, I was like, man, I can really relate to this. Like, this is something in life that we all experienced, and I could really see myself experiencing it during the lockdowns, like the status quo, like, okay, this is happening. We all think that it's going to be like a couple of weeks, and then it drags on. So you're called to this adventure. These are, by the way, the stages of my work. So you call to this adventure to get used to this new normal, and how you're going to manage. The next stage is crossing the threshold. Like, I think for me, that was when you really being dragged down into this whole feeling of, I don't know when it's going to end. Like, when you're really in your mind and you don't know what's the next step, and so on and so on. So the stages, the each photo in my series is a stage in the hero's journey that I wanted to visualize, and I wanted to show my own feelings and thoughts during this period of time. um yeah. I think in theory and in inspiration, these two things were the major parts in the project. And after that, I had a lot of influence from um, Rodney Smith, whom I don't think is a very well-known photographer, but he has a very um, clean style, and he used to be a fashion photographer. And you might not actually see it in my work, but I was just really inspired by his um, kind of mysticism in his work. Like, there's always a question, like you're looking at a photo from him and it's a bit surreal, and it's a little bit like Magritte's, and oh, something else is going on there. So I wanted my series to kind of evoke some sort of feeling like that. And I used chiaroscuro, this kind of, very dark, but lit with one strong light effect to symbolize the subconscious, the darkness, that the thoughts and feelings and doubts and everything that arises inside you. That there's so much more that you can see into that darkness when you're looking at the pictures. Like what else is there? What is behind? It's so personal, and it was really difficult to actually get done doing it. So technically, I shot first with another person because it felt so, emotional. I couldn't actually go in front of the camera for the first time. I asked one of my course mates, like, would you model for me? Because it's really personal. I will direct you, I will pose you, I try the lighting, to do all these things. And at that point, I even considered I might use someone else because it was all kind of painful to relive that whole experience that I've been through. But then in the end, I really understood that it had to be me because of the personal nature of the project. So yeah. So as for the process, I went to try out everything, lighting, posing, and technical aspects, because in some of the images I use strobe or continuous lighting or a mixture of the two, and then I composite images together. So there were a lot of technical things that I wanted to try out first in the studio and then go back, try again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So how does it feel then to, now that it's sunk in, to be the winner of our first student award?
It is still very surreal. I can't quite believe it, like I think I told you I received your email like you've been awarded, and I'm like, is this right? Is it really me? Did they get the right person? And yeah, it is amazing, and I'm really, really thankful for AP Magazine for this award, and I'm really, honored that I can be the first person receiving, because it's a completely new award, and I think it's a beautiful initiative from the magazine to look at student work and go for the graduate shows, and really putting our work out there, because it's such a competitive field, and it really feels nice to be seen and heard, and especially because of the nature of my project and how personal it was. And it is difficult to talk about mental health issues and anxiety or depression and making yourself vulnerable. So receiving an award for something that I have done on that topic is, I think, really, really uplifting. I'm really happy about it.
Absolutely. Many congratulations again.
Thank you.
So what's next for you and your work? Do you have any projects on the go?
Oof.
Are you going to
I have
extend this
been,
project even further?
to be honest, I've been tempted to do so, but I'm just not sure I can live up to my own expectations about it. It's been a massive thing to take on for me. I really enjoyed it, and I think I definitely want to continue exploring the topic of mental health in my personal work.
Mhm.
I've been looking into Carl Jung's archetypes and how the subconscious works, and this kind of collective subconscious that he was talking about. But to be honest, I have too many mini ideas and projects, and I just need to, when you just need to sit down, calm yourself, and realize which one are you going to focus on. Other than that, I've been looking for a job in photography since I graduated, and it's a daunting task, but I keep going and keep writing those cover letters and applications. And I'm focusing on my portfolio. I've been focusing a lot on more commercial work and product photography, still life photography, which I really enjoy doing because I don't have a studio and a lot of equipment. So I can do it at home. I can set up on my table, I can use natural light. So it's something that is available for me at the moment, and I can use it for my portfolio.
Amazing. Well, fingers crossed on the job front soon. Do you have any advice for current students or those looking to study photography in the future?
I would say that the best thing to make the most out of the facilities the studios, the equipment that you have available, because you will really feel once you finish, even if you have a camera, but you have access to so many different things there, and use it well, and learn how to use each of those things. Like, even if you're not so much for studio photography, do learn how to use stuff in there, because afterwards it's going to be really expensive to rent or to borrow it from someone. So definitely make use of what's there already. Also, don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, I've seen so many people, like, they're brilliant photographers, but they didn't dare to ask the right questions, or ask for help, or just say, this is my idea and this is what is really, really inspiring me, but they felt shy to say it. And I think it's really important that if you're passionate about something, if you really feel like that this resonates with you, then by all means go for it and make it your project and work on it and photograph it, and it will show through your work, because you're honest with yourself and you're honest in your work.